Now to New Zealand, where the Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has said that the country is turning a corner in its fight against coronavirus. New Zealand went into a severe lockdown just over 2 weeks ago, shutting schools and non-essential businesses, even before the first death was recorded. And now the curve is beginning to flatten, as you can see from this graph. This is from the news organisation Stuff, with a total of 1,200 cases and just one death overall. So that is good news, of course, but the co-leader of the country's Green Party and the government minister is warning that New Zealand really needs to stick to its strategy, not to abandon it halfway through. So let's talk to Dr Kate Baddock, who is a GP and the chair of the New Zealand Medical Association. Thank you for your time. When it comes to New Zealand, we see witnessing such huge figures in the United States of deaths and confirmed cases in Europe. New Zealand, just one death. What is it that you're doing that you're getting it so right?
Look, I think that one of the things that we did right is that we watched other countries and we saw the very steep curves of increasing infections and increasing deaths. And we realised that we could not cope with that. And so as soon as we had community transmission confirmed, and I'm talking 2 people, when we had that confirmed, that's when we decided to go down to level 4 lockdown, which was a complete lockdown of every public gathering, schools, universities, all non-essential businesses. Everything got closed down as soon as we had community transmission confirmed.
So one death, 1,200, just over 1,200 cases. Of course, I need to stress that your population in New Zealand is 5 million people, so a much smaller population. Islands, a little bit easier to contain. Do you think you've got a bit of luck on your side as well?
Look, I think that is true. It is easier as an island, but then again, we did have to bring about 40,000 New Zealanders home over the time of the initial phases of the lockdown. And we had something like 250,000 people in New Zealand who were travelling here at the same time. So yes, we're an island, yes, we can lock down our borders, but we still had to move people across those borders in order to get our own home and to get others back to their own countries.
And can you tell us, when it comes to per capita testing, how are you getting on there? Have you got quite a high testing ratio to the population?
Look, we have now. Initially, we were testing according to quite strict criteria, similar to other countries. So we were probably only picking up those who were in fact symptomatic. But as of day 8 of our lockdown, which we're now on day 15, day 16, we opened up testing enormously. So we were testing between 4,500 and 5,000 people a day. And that's how we really know that we are flattening the curve, because we only had 29 cases yesterday, despite 4,500, 5,000 tests being done.
And the idea, so you've been on a strict lockdown. When do you think you'll be at that position where you can revisit the notion of the lockdown easing, perhaps, in certain areas at least?
Well, believe me, everybody's looking forward to that. The government is going to be meeting on the 20th with a view to making a decision about whether or not lockdown has to be extended past the 2-week period, which would be the 22nd.
OK, thank you so much for talking us through that. It's been fascinating to speak to you and that insight on what is happening in New Zealand, because, yes, the rest of the world is very much looking at the figures in New Zealand and just working out what it is that they're doing to get it right. Just one death so far, a 5 million population.